Hi, I'm Susanna Bowling, and this is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents Zoom Style. Opening rather shortly is a brand new musical based on the Count of Monte Cristo called Monte Cristo. And today we are with the composer, Stephen Weiner, who has won, where did my notes go? Three Richard Rodgers, one
Two.
Jonathan Larson, and the Global Search of Musical Theater Awards. I have seen three of his shows, Penelope, Iron Cutters, and New Yorkers. And I am looking forward to finding out more because I just watched a YouTube video with one of the songs from the show where Norm Lewis is singing, and the music is spectacular. Welcome, Stephen Weiner.
Thank you so much. May I make a quick correction? I
Yes,
wish I
please.
won three Richard Rodgers, but I won two.
Well,
So,
it says two and then
and then
an ASCAP.
I won the ASCAP Richard Rodgers, which is a different. The Richard Rodgers is awarded by the American Academy of Arts and Letters.
Oh,
That
okay.
used to be chaired by Mr. Sondheim, and the ASCAP Richard Rodgers is a separate award. Very, very honored to get all of them. So
I'm surprised you haven't gotten the Gilman Gonzalez or the oh my God, which one was I just at? I was just at one. Uh
the Kleban,
yeah, the Kleban.
they're the Kleban's only for lyricists,
Oh, that's true.
but I've helped two of my collaborators get the Kleban, and the Gilman Gonzalez. I'm not sure if that is for composers, and
Yeah, it is.
that may be, and I could be wrong, a BMI
It
award.
is. Oh, so you're only ASCAP, you're not BMI?
No, I'm only ASCAP. I was at the BMI workshop for many, many years.
Yes, I
And
saw that with Maury Yeston. Was
yes,
Well, let me guess, was Skip Kenna a part of it?
yes, I was in the
David
class with
Spencer?
I was in the class with who was in my class? Lynn and Steve, Doug Cohen, myself, um, a whole bunch of others. But
Was Lehman still alive then?
who?
Lehman Engel?
The day I auditioned, Alan Becker, who was running the program, came in. He was a very gruff guy. And we're all in the waiting room. We're really nervous and we're waiting to audition. And he said, I have good news and bad news. He said, the good news is we're on time. The bad news is Lehman Engel died today.
Oh my God.
So it's like, well, all right. But we auditioned, and my audition panel was Ed Kleban,
Oh wow.
Al Menken, Carol Hall, and I think Carrie Gold, and there may be one other person. And all I remember is that my hands were like I was like literally shaking as I played. But I got in, and so in those days, Skip Kennan ran year one, right?
Yep.
The basics.
I used to sing for composers in the work.
Wow, wow. And then year two was taught by a wonderful man, Richard Enquist, who
Oh
left.
yeah. Is Richard still around?
No, he passed away many, many, many years ago.
I remember him. Did you have to write a song for Streetcar Named Desire?
Act two, scene two, that was my very first song. I was admitted as a composer lyricist. And then after around three or four songs where I wrote music and lyrics, I realized that even though I was a decent lyricist, there were better lyricists. And so I decided, let me focus on my strength and let me get to know some of the other lyricists in the workshop. And then after year two, there was the purge, the
Right.
great purge. And the lyricist I was working with did not make it. I made it. And the first day of our advanced workshop, Ed Kleban was subbing for Maury. And
Okay.
Ed was a very severe man. He never smiled. And I'm in the back, and next to me is Lynn and Steve. And Ed looks around. He doesn't say anything. He just looks around. He says, one of you in this room is talented. You know who you are. Let's begin. Oh, you know who else was in my class? Pat and Rick, Pat Cook
Oh,
and
wow.
and
Okay.
Pat and Rick
Because
always
Pat ended up teaching.
they were always the first ones to go. So they went up and they did their song, and BMI's changed greatly since then, but it was a
It was like a
it
baby
was it
clubhouse.
was a mean time. It
Mm.
was a mean time. There were people that would break down crying after their critiques. It was
When even though I sang when Lehman was teaching, and definitely Pat Cook and Richard Inquest, the people that I sang for, they got bravos, so I
oh
never
yeah,
had to deal with the
yeah,
bad fallout.
yeah. I was always treated very decently and fairly, and Maury was a great fan of my work, and I loved him, and I learned so much. I think BMI took your raw talent
Hmm.
and just distilled it to that next level just by listening to a lot of other people and how they approach things, and also just the basics. The It's kind of like any skill-based course. It taught you kind of how to write a real theater song and the craft behind it, and which is different than ASCAP. The ASCAP workshop looks at your entire piece
Score,
more commercially, because I did the ASCAP workshop as well.
right? Was Schwartz teaching it then?
It was at the time, it was, God bless him, Charles Strauss, and
Okay.
Stephen was kind of like the lieutenant. So it was Charles at the top and then Stephen by his side, and they were brilliant. And
I
the
sang for that as well.
the ASCAP workshop is that they would have panels of producers
Mhm.
and kind of movers and shakers who could really not just give you feedback, but if they really liked your material, they could open doors. And that's what happened when I was, at one point, I was writing exclusively with Glenn Slater. And
Oh, I love Glenn Slater stuff.
and when Glenn and I presented our project, it kind of opened doors. It was unbelievable. So
What,
ASCAP was different.
what composers inspired you to do what you do?
To answer that question, I'm going to take you way back to the
Okay.
1830s when I was a kid. And my dad was a physicist and he was studying for the bar exam
So
to
he was
become a
smart.
lawyer. He was a smart dude. Um, and we lived in a tiny apartment, tiny,
Okay.
and he had a rickety bridge table, and I was allowed to play very, very quietly next to him. And we had an old high fidelity that also had the spool to spool tape recorder. And he would listen to all the great musicals: My
Mm.
Fair Lady, West Side Story, Carousel, Oklahoma. And I was just taking it in through osmosis. Flower Drum Song. And on the flip side of that, my mother was from Belgium. And
Oh,
so my first language was French, and my nursery rhymes were in French. And I listened to Piaf, Jacques Brel, all of these. French music is so unique. It's
that is
rich
hysterical.
with melody. So I was kind of getting hit on both ends by this insistence on melody and just learning about Broadway through my dad, and then the gorgeousness of all that French music. The very first song I can remember was from this French singing group that was very popular in their day, Les Compagnons de la Chanson, and it's gorgeous to this day. I still remember it, and it's those were my influences. So as I got older and I started digging more into Broadway, I am a child of the 60s who took in Jerry Herman, Kander and Ebb, Lesser, um, you name it,
Okay.
Lionel Hart, Bob Merrill, um, and of course Sondheim. And I was also a huge, huge fan of Gershwin. I listened to all of his symphonies. I listened to Porgy and Bess umpteen times.
Mm.
Um, and so my musical style as I evolved, um, unconsciously was akin to kind of their influence and style. And and I have great respect for composers today and listen, I'm a huge fan of Songs for a New World and Jason Robert Brown.
Oh, same.
I love it. However, I'm grounded in that time and space of that kind of the craft, Julie Stein. I mean, that's kind of who I am.
Now,
And
there is a difference between the music then and the music now.
yeah,
When you've got things like maybe Happy Ending, which
right,
is a completely different sound.
completely.
Like that was the first time that I think I saw a musical and went, oh, nobody tried to copy from anything.
Yeah, yeah. And so I admittedly am a child of kind of the influences of the golden era, Bach and Harnick.
Oh,
And when I was 3, I played Mary Had a Little Lamb with both hands, and my parents thought something was wrong with me, took me to the doctor, and then I wrote
right.
my first musical when I was 6. And um, and I'd say that probably sometime in my late 20s is when I really started creating my own voice and my own style, where I could kind of break away from just being slavishly imitating some of the masters and coming to my own style. And I think BMI kind of honed that style for me.
Hmm.
And uh, and
And
so
looking at the shows that I've seen of yours, they're all vastly different musically.
yes, I
Vastly.
I um I would say that unconsciously, and I think this is one of my strengths, I basically, what's the word? Kind of glom on. I'm kind of like Gumby. I glom on to I glom on to the collaborator, to the lyricist that I'm working with, and to the style of their lyrics. With Glenn, we wrote very kind of angular, sharp, witty songs where at times the lyrics were the star and the music played second, especially when you're writing comedy songs,
Sure.
because the lyrics have to land and the
Ah,
music.
but if the music doesn't have that undertone, that beat, it's not going to land.
Exactly, exactly. And so with Glenn, I wrote in a very different way. Then I wrote with Susan DeLallo, Once Upon a Time in New Jersey, which
That's
was
one
very,
show I don't know.
yeah, yeah. That actually was done at Prospect and at the Village and all over the place. Iron Curtain with Pete Mills.
That one I
Uh,
saw. And I love Peter Mills.
yeah, and Iron Curtain. Thank you. And Iron Curtain. Um, Iron Curtain is kind of this golden era, but Pete is so brilliant. Peter Mills, so brilliant and so witty, um, and and yet what I did is a lot with Peter Mills was music first.
Mm.
Glenn, it was music first. With Susan, it was lyric first. Uh, with Peter Kellogg, who I've been writing now extensively for this our fourth show, it's typically lyric first. But then what I'll do is I'll take what he did maybe for the bridge, throw out that lyric, give him a music different music for that, and say, hey, why don't you try this? Because it fits better. So with Pete and I, we we've kind of balanced both things out, but I'm very much like I said, I glom on to the unconscious needs style and then the plot itself and the era that we're in. For Once Upon a Time in New Jersey, um, we were parodying the 1950s. So I listened and in Italian American 1950s. So I
Oh,
listened to Sinatra, Dean Martin, Vic Damone.
this is a show Magda would love.
Yeah, and and I got immersed in that. Um,
Where
So
have you gone for Monte Cristo?
it's very interesting you ask that. When Pete sent the first draft of Monte Cristo, and Pete Kellogg is quite amazing and prolific,
I agree.
he sent me a complete draft, first draft, with some lyrics, and I said 5 songs in one night. And
Wow.
that's always a sign for me that I know that the music is accessible to me. And I think it was because it was French.
That it's so funny that you have Magda and I doing this interview because Magda is massively in love with French music. Me, not so much. I'm massively in love with Broadway musical theater. Magda, not so much. So we're like
The
split
yin and
hairs with
yang.
you.
The yin and yang. So, because it was French, even though I don't think my music is particularly in any way, shape, or form French sounding, but that unconscious understanding that this is Alexandre Dumas, this is a French story, it just unlocks something for me. And and it just kind of poured out of me. So
Are we going to see more teasers like you did with the song with Norm Lewis?
yes.
I love that song.
So we did a another teaser with Karen Ziemba.
Oh, is it up yet?
It's going to be up either today or tomorrow. It's just a snippet of a comedy song, which unfortunately, in context, it's going to work brilliantly. Out of context, I'm not sure, but she's wonderful, and it was such an honor to meet her. I've seen her in all the things that she's done, obviously, but I've never really worked with her, so it was a real honor to be in the room with her.
And seeing the cast and the creatives and everybody involved in this, is this kind of like a pre-Broadway tryout? That's what it looks like to me.
Uh, well, I think what I would say is I would be lying if I said, "Oh no." I think every writer has that secret dream harboring somewhere. Um, I've been around the block. This is my 13th show. I've been around the block enough to know that you should go in with low expectations and and be pleasantly surprised. But I would say that on based on our workshop that we did last year of the show, which got very, very strong feedback, um, I feel like we've done our homework, we've done our development, we've done everything that we can to present the best possible show to the public. And now it's going to be up to the theater gods and to the critics and everybody else.
Well, I have to bring something up because until I was looking at your bio today and making sure that I knew who, what, when, where, and how, your daughter is Marla Mendel
Yes, our oldest
and
daughter.
Titanic.
Yes,
That's going to Broadway this year.
yes, it is.
Are
Yes,
you proud of that? Were you like, did you know that?
insanely proud. Um, Marla, so we have 3 beautiful daughters. My wife is Rita. We've been married 42 years, 43, 42. And and from a very, very early age, Marla's talent was quite obvious and evident. And anytime a parent has the privilege of seeing their child do something that they love to do and do it well, it's an indescribable feeling, whether it's watching someone on stage or on an athletic field or at the Olympics, whatever it is. Um, it's it's thrilling to know that she's reached this point and with Titanic.
Well,
And
it's
there
sad.
was a time that we didn't think Titanic was even going to happen. It was
Yeah,
supposed to go on.
I think I was at its first preview or opening night. I was at one of the two. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
but I did not know that was your daughter until I saw this, and I'm like, oh man, I have to make sure I talk about this.
yeah,
Um, so she's a daddy's girl.
she is. We we used to have daddy-daughter days, and I would take all 3 of them to do different activities. Our middle daughter was also a musical theater girl, Lisa, but she went to CCM just like Marla.
Mhm.
She made a decision at some point that she didn't care for that lifestyle and the financial insecurity. She is now a thriving and brilliantly successful financial advisor out in Burbank, California. And
That's a
but
left turn.
Marla stayed with it. And
What does the third daughter do?
and our third daughter is a creative project manager for IF Studios in Manhattan. So if you want to sell a building in Manhattan, her company will create the campaign. And that's what she does. So they're all creative in their own way. And
Oh,
but
that's actually seriously amazing and so interesting. Um, what would you like audiences to take away from Monte Cristo?
um, unbeknownst to us, when we started this project, Monte Cristo has eerie parallels to what's going on in today's world. The story is essentially the story of an innocent man that is set up and unjustly sent to prison by by a despotic leader who wants to cling to power.
Mm.
So it has surreal implications for what many of us see when we look on read the news and look on TV screens and things like that. Um, and I think the choice that Edmond Dantes has to make in his life is a choice that many of us has to make, which is how do you choose to live your life? You can live your life seeking revenge and vindictiveness, or you need to find a way to come around that bend and seek love.
Agreed.
And
Isn't that the
sometimes
message
it's a
of life?
really hard choice.
No, but isn't that the message of life? If you believe in past lives, this is what it's about. It's about finding that,
And some people never find it.
obviously.
And in Edmund's case, our show is about that quest for
Mm,
him. And I think there's a universality, like you said, to that theme
yes.
that is also going to resonate with audiences.
Well, this year, every year, shows take on different themes. And this year, surprisingly enough, it's redemption.
Uh-huh.
So, which is nice because it's been weirder things besides that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Magda, we're running out of time, and I want to make sure because Magda, I'm sure she always has prolific questions. Magda, do you have a question to ask?
Oh, well, no, I just want to mention you were mentioning Piaf this weekend. There's in Town Hall, a friend of mine who's a French producer is coming in with a French production of her songs, of songs that you might not know. So I just wanted to let you know that.
well, thank you. I appreciate that. Speaking of Titanic, by the way, there's going to be an all French production this summer
Oh,
in
really?
in Canada. It was already there last summer, but they're coming back. I think the production last summer was in English, and now it's all French production.
Wow.
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
great.
We
So,
have like no time, but I want to give you the last word. Is there anything that you would like our audiences to know that I didn't ask?
um, well, we're running through April 5th, so we have limited time.
And when
So,
do you start?
uh, previews start March 12th. Opening night is March 19th.
I'll be there.
And April 5th is our last show. And so please come see us. We have this incredible cast. And I want to also put a plug in for our brilliant director, Peter Flynn, and Marco Santana, our choreographer. I will say one more thing, and that is of all the shows I've done, I would say that this has been one of the most joyous and coherent and aligned collaborations that I've had the privilege to have. We're all on the same page and we work so well together, and it's such a give and take environment. And in musical theater, sometimes that's hard to do.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm Susanna Bowling. This is live from the Hotel Edison. Times Square Chronicles presents Zoom Style, and we have been with Stephen Weiner and Monte Cristo.